Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. I can't really hear myself in that. Test, test. Now I can. That's better. Oh, yeah. Ready to start?
Yes.
All right, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, thanks for being a part of it. That sounds a little staticky. Do you hear static on me, Jeff? No? Oh, as long as you don't, that's fine. All right, so we're going to be on Facebook Live here, and we're going to be starting the actual show with Rupesh Patel. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the No Vacancy Podcast. This is me, your host, Glenn Hausman, and we are recording this, and if you're fortunate enough to be participating when it's live on Facebook. But for the rest of you, this happened several weeks ago. I hope that you enjoy your trip back into the past with me, Glenn Hausman, here at the No Vacancy Podcast, coming at you from AHOA, the annual conference at the Gaylord National. And I am joined with Mr. Rupesh Patel, who's with smartguests.com and happens to be a hotel owner who loves empowering guests. How are you, sir?
Excellent. So happy to be on again.
I know. Well, it's been too long since we had you on last time, and I'm really glad to have you back here this time. But before we get going, I want to say that this show is brought to you in part by Duetto, the revenue strategy partner that thousands of hotels are using to make more money. That's right. If you guys like making money and you like making more of it, you're going to love working with Duetto. You can check them out at getrevenueresults.com, getrevenueresults.com to learn all about what you need to know in order to have a comprehensive revenue strategy. And I did a great interview with their CEO, Patrick Bosworth, which I know you're going to love, and you can check it out. All you have to do is go to getrevenueresults.com. And if you're feeling generous, and I know you are out there, check out patreon.com/novacancy. Just throw us a couple of bucks, you know. I work hard. My kids are teenagers now. They eat a whole lot, and, you know, be really helpful to if you can help out, you know. You've got kids, Rupesh, you know, they just don't stop eating. It's like every time, 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Absolutely. You know, we go out to eat once, maybe twice a week, and you know, now these bills are crazy. Like, these guys are eating adult meals where, you know, kids' meals might be like $2 or $3, and now it's like a full size. Like, they want an adult meal, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's super crazy. They just do not stop eating. So as I was saying, we came here. We're at AHOA, and if you're streaming live, you know, that's great. Send us your comments, your thoughts. But now we're going to get into it. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get this show on the road, man. Yes. Rupesh, you are. What I really like about you is not just the stuff that you do to appeal towards your guests, but the way that you love to connect with your staff. Because as we all know, staff engagement is really the be-all, end-all of making sure you have a successful business.
Absolutely. You know, it's our staff that's making us the money. It's our staff that's welcoming guests. It's our staff that is, you know, taking care of your business. So why not treat them amazing, right? They say if you take care of your staff first, right, your customers will be happy. Yeah.
So how do you do that? You know, what are some of the? I think let's go through this. You get somebody, you hire them on staff. They're going to be good, but then you've got to make them great, and you've got to make them enthusiastic, and then from there everything just kind of runs itself, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And you know, I've been through my fair share of GMs and, you know, managers and staff in general, and you know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge in the industry. It's a challenge in any business, right?
Right.
Getting a good person on board. And, you know, my thing is do you have somebody that actually cares,
Right.
cares about the business, cares about people, cares in general, right? If they don't care, you can't empower them at all.
Okay, so I guess first it's an issue of trying to hire people that care, right? Which
Right.
was incidentally a Best Western commercial tagline from a number of years ago. Stay with people that care. I love that. So how do you hire in a way that you know people are going to care, and then we could get into how you maintain that and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So it's been a while since I actually hired somebody. We've had a great team, and
I was about to say, I forgot you're such a big man now.
No. Hiring GMs or just line level employees. It's a challenge, but the process that we go through, the questions that we ask,
right?
We ask real life questions like, if in this scenario, what would happen if you had this happen? And how they react to it. Right. If you had a guest that came up to the front desk and was screaming at you because their hot water doesn't work, how do you treat them, right? And then the opposite, like if somebody was really happy about their stay, what are you saying about that? How are you reacting? These people. Simple ideas, like if you see somebody taking, let's say you have stairs,
right.
They're walking bags or their luggage upstairs. Are they nice enough to say, hey, can I give you a hand, right? Mm-hmm. Do they actually care? So that's a big part of, of our business.
So how do you know if somebody is going to be a right fit for your organization culturally and care-wise?
It's the questions that you ask. It's kind of doing the references. It's kind of doing background. It's having them interview with 4 or 5 people, not just a GM. Have them come in and interview with a housekeeping supervisor. Let them ask questions and see if they really connect with the team, because it's kind of like a family where you bring somebody on, and that cousin or that uncle that just drags everybody down. It's a bummer.
Yeah, yeah, that really is a bummer. And if you do want to, get bummed out by bad hotel stories, check out on the Reddit feed Tales from the Front Desk, which is really pretty funny, and it talks about all these horrible guest stories.
So funny.
You read that too?
I do.
Yeah. So that's a great way for you hotel people to be able to vent privately to other fellow hoteliers. But when it comes to treating guests right, you've got to treat them right every single time. And that's one of the things. I see that certainly guests are not always rational. Guests are not always practical, and they have a lot of weird things about them.
Quirks.
Sometimes. Quirks, that's a great way to put it. Me, I'm an amazing hotel customer. I never cause anyone any guff, anytime, anywhere, but we're not talking about wonderful stand-up guys like me. How do you train people to be able to negotiate that so they don't come away as an employee feeling damaged by dealing with negative energy coming from customers?
Right. We say put yourself in their shoes, right? If they were upset let me give you a story.
Yeah, great.
Last night, I checked into my hotel.
Right.
I use a restroom, and I look over to the tub, and there's a hair on the floor mat, right?
Right.
And what would you most guests, or not most guests, some guests that complain would go down and just scream and yell and do all these things. But, it's how you react to them. And we say to our associates, how would you feel if you had a hair, or if you had your shower wasn't working or something in the room? Put yourself in their shoes and then react. Like, Mr. Smith, I'm so sorry. I could understand how that feels, right? You have to be that kind of caring person where you can't take it personally. I always say, don't take stuff personally. Sometimes something really bad happens, you take it home and it just ruins your day. Don't take it personally. It's just part of the business, right? Hot water is going to go out. The AC is not going to work. People are not going to show up. It's part of our business. It's just things that happen, right?
So it's a lot about having empathy and showing that you care, to use that word again.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so how do you keep the staff motivated on a day-to-day type of a basis? I see, you're very good with posting on LinkedIn, and you find ways to tell interesting stories and also praise all of your people within the organization and just show that you're an organization that cares. So how do you set up that culture, I guess, and how do you make sure that the people that are working in your hotels actually feel cared for and part of a community, as opposed to just coming in and clocking in for a job?
Right. And so I was like maybe the other side of the business, as far as, hey, I just cared about making money. This is like 10 years ago, maybe longer. But I just wanted to make sure that we sold rooms, and that was it, right?
Right.
And when the economy went down, we all went down. We started losing money, right? And it affected everybody. So I would think of ways to get business into our property. And nothing was happening until I read some books and some stories online and started following some really awesome people that shared customer service tips and ideas and strategies.
This is where you're supposed to say, I learned everything on the No Vacancy podcast.
Yes. You know what? I wish your podcast was around, 10 years ago.
Right.
It would have been awesome, to learn all these things that people are sharing, because people are sharing amazing things online, right? Mm-hmm. So I just changed my focus. I said, you know what? I'm going to try this customer service thing and see if it works for our business, because I see this other business or these other people really generating great feedback, and this is before TripAdvisor was getting huge and social and all that stuff. And I said, you know what, we're just going to change our focus. Instead of thinking about how much money we made every day, think about how many happy guests there were that stayed with us, right? And as soon as I did that, and I started implementing all these ideas to empower our employees to stand out, ask questions, and do quarterly training. So every quarter we train all our employees, including housekeepers, everybody.
Wow.
Comes and sits down for a couple hours. We're actually doing one in a couple weeks, where they learn ideas, not just about the business of hospitality or the hotel business, but life lessons that can, they can take on for the rest of their career or the rest of their life.
Or just even when they leave the hotel for the night.
Right. Being good people, right?
Right.
And so we do these trainings where we share ideas and we ask, one cool idea is get somebody, let's say you have a training, nominate 2 people to come do a life lesson or a learning lesson of some sort for 5 to 10 minutes in front of everybody. That empowers them to be a leader, even if they're not, they don't have a title of the GM or they don't have a title of some management position. To come teach something. It doesn't have to be about hotels, but that empowers people to show that they actually care about the business, they care about you, and they care as a family, which has been powerful, right? Yeah. You can bring people together like that. So that's a huge part of how we've started the culture, is getting ongoing training. Because, I heard this last night from another hotel. I'm not going to say his name. He said, I love what you're doing online, but, I want to bring you in. Can we do it maybe the hour before our Christmas party?
What?
He said that, and I was like,
because I know before Christmas parties, everyone's really focused on learning and education.
Yes, and I was the same way. I was like, you know what, we're gonna have a holiday party, or we're gonna have this celebration, and we'll just throw in training. But that never works because you're not in that same mindset of learning. You're in a different mindset.
Right. So basically what you're saying is there are people out there that are looking for a quick fix solution, rip the Band-Aid off of it, as opposed to, let that wound heal over time and really create a cultural shift and change in order to drive that long-term satisfaction by your employees, which will then translate that into treating your customers much nicer.
Absolutely. Culture is a long-term game plan. It's not the short-term game plan where, you change one thing and then everyone's happy. It's not like that, because people come in and out of your business, right? And if you have this one set of standards that everybody lives by, like when we have these trainings and new associates come on board, I look them in the eye, I'm like, listen, we have this culture, we have this family. You'll quickly understand if you don't fit in here, and you're going to quit right away, because you're going to see that I can't treat people this way. I can't talk to guests this way. I can't treat our own employees or your cohorts this way, right? Which is powerful, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of hoteliers and business people in general, they don't share those ideas and say, hey, listen, we really are strong, or we believe in this stuff, right?
Right.
And then we live it by it too. So even every morning we say, you know what, empower yourself, but let other guests know that you care, just by little things like. Your phone.
I know.
Is that your family member is calling you? Where are you?
No, it was somebody from the D.C. area calling. I wonder if it's the next interview, wondering what's happening. But it doesn't matter to me, because we're on Facebook Live and we're talking to Rupesh Patel, and you're the most important one right now.
Thank you. So it's just a lot of communication, which a lot of hoteliers, even now and in the past, it's hard to communicate that you care. And being thankful, when's the last time you actually thanked anybody at your property, right? Actually said, you know what, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Right.
And we say these words weekly. We just got a letter on Sunday, this past Sunday, from a guest, and I'll show you later.
Yeah.
But it is crazy. It wowed me. I actually sent that guest an email yesterday saying thank you so much, and it was about our GM. He was like, in his, not his review online, his email a long email to us, said, listen, your employees, this GM really cares because she did this, this, and this. She looked after. She asked us questions. She went above and beyond. Right? When you walk into a hotel, or do you have the GM at the front desk, or do you have somebody in management during breakfast hours talking to guests, right? Because other employees see that, and they see that they can become leaders when they're engaging, when they're doing all these kind of to empower yourself, right? Empower the team.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't see enough is the general manager, whoever's in charge, walking around that breakfast room. To me, if we're talking the select service hospitality environment, that is your one major opportunity per day to really make that connection with guests. And as I say, I think on each and every episode on this podcast is you're not going to connect with your guests by offering them better technology. It's the interactions between human beings where all of that magic happens. Yeah. And if you're not having somebody out at the breakfast area caring for the guests, asking for the guests, making them feel like they're part of the family in your hotel, then I think you're really missing out on an opportunity.
Absolutely. If you want to, here's a quick tip, and it's an awesome tip. If you want to raise your service scores, your GIS or GSS scores, your reviews, do this tomorrow. Do this tomorrow morning. If you're the GM or the owner, have your GM, or if you're the GM or whatever, spend time at breakfast for 2 hours. Do nothing besides when you get there, spend 2 hours in breakfast engaging, asking guests, how was your stay? What could we have done better? What can we do to improve for your next stay? What will you tell your friends about us? Will you post a review online?
Right.
Ask questions that, get responses, and I guarantee you that that guest is going to be like, listen, I've never been treated this way, right? And that's what we do every day.
Yeah,
that's how you kind of empower everybody to see that, hey, we care.
Right, and let's add another layer to that. Help you make money while you're asking those questions. Also get into conversation. How did you hear about our hotel? What brought you to the neighborhood today?
Absolutely.
Why are you staying with us? For all you know, you could be unlocking the secrets to a whole new revenue stream by figuring out the patterns of why people are staying with you. Yeah, sure, it may be that soccer tournament that's down the road, but it might be something more meaningful that's really changing the whole nature of the neighborhood that you could get on, connect with guests. If you have those conversations with them, they're more than likely to come back. I just go on and on and on.
It's so powerful. Like, it's changed, it's brought our scores up ridiculously, right? It's just crazy.
Right. And it's also a great opportunity. If there is something that's not right for the guest, they'll feel comfortable and prompted in that moment to share what that is. Then you have the opportunity to turn it around and turn a negative probably into a net positive as well.
Yes. If you want to prevent bad TripAdvisor reviews, do this tomorrow. Spend 2 hours in breakfast talking to guests, fix their problems before they leave, right? And show that you care. You might get a customer for life.
Right.
We've had that plenty of times. We've recovered guests, and they've stayed with us forever, right? And they tell other people, too, like, oh, this hotel actually cares. This GM actually cares, right? So, that's part of the whole culture, right?
So what do you do to reward your staff for doing the right thing, going out of their way, and all of that sort of stuff?
We do gift cards. We do thank you. Listen, the highest compliment is just a thank you.
Yep.
Like, you're doing an awesome job, right? Some people aren't motivated by money, right? They're not motivated by a lot of like material things. But if you just say thank you so much, like sit down and say, you know what? This guest came up to me and said, you do an amazing job, and I see that you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much. Like, we really appreciate it. Like, without you, we wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
That is huge for us.
Yeah.
Huge.
It's true. Most people are not motivated by money. I, however, am. So go to patreon.com/novacancy. And, or at least if you don't have the money, you do that consummate thank you. Give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts over there, which will go a long way to making me happy and keep doing this show. But all right, you are the consummate entrepreneur. I remember when we first got to know each other, we were at an AHO event, and you were scooting around on one of those skateboard things. I forgot. The hoverboards. That's what they were called, right? And you were ahead of that cusp, and you really got in it before they all started exploding on everybody. And that trend.
Luckily, mine didn't explode. I just got in and out at the right time. That was kind of my business plan.
Yeah, you do. You seem to always be popping up in and out doing little things. But the consistent thing that you do is smartguest.com, where you find ways to help hotels appreciate their customers.
Absolutely. We've helped small mom and pops to huge, like the United States largest and tallest hotel, right? We've helped everybody, and it's awesome to see our clients and customers improving their service scores, improving their reviews online,
right,
and just really improving their asset, right? And that's what I'm passionate about, like helping others to see that they can make a big difference in their business.
Yeah, so one of the things that you do, it's just a small, simple, easy to do thing, is just like if you're going to give away a chocolate bar, you could wrap it and have their name on that chocolate bar and on the wrapping. I think that's fun. It's cute. It's a little bit something, but to me, it's just a wink and it shows that your employees care about the customers.
Right, right. So yeah, what you're talking about is our custom candy wrapper template. Mm-hmm. It's basically a PDF that our designers designed for you with your location, logo, and all that stuff. And we customize it and send it to you as a tool for you to engage and recognize your rewards member, your best, your best guests that are staying with you, or a group of guests, right, or your corporate clients or whatever. But it's a great tool where on the fly you can print the guest name, wrap it around a candy bar, wrap it around a water bottle, and present it. There's like last night I stayed at this hotel that gave me 2 water bottles with nothing on it. Didn't make me feel special. Everybody gives water bottles these days, right? But how are you personalizing their stay? Like, how are you getting to know them, or how are you recognizing them? And I got this idea from Coke a couple years ago. Remember when everyone's names?
You mean Coca-Cola, not the drug?
Not the drug. No,
I can totally picture you there. Oh yeah, man, I got a great idea.
That is actually considering that. No, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Yes. It's a great brand. They've come up with a lot of awesome ideas. Their marketing is so strong. I took this idea and this concept because, listen, in business, you can't make up your own rules. Well, you can make up your own rules, but you get ideas from other businesses. That's why I love traveling. That's why I love staying at other hotels. I love staying at other brands, and I love staying and doing business with cool companies because they bring so much technology and ideas and little things like this custom wrapper into our business, right? We can't live in our own bubble, so I love doing that. Like thinking outside of like, I'll go to a Blaze Pizza and see like the something that they do that I will bring into my business, right? That's how we got to think as hoteliers.
A custom wrapper, by the way, my favorite MC from 1990s from the hip hop community.
That's so funny.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we provide a lot of tools like that engage and kind of help our hotels, right? Our bread and butter really improve.
Right. So, any other tips that you want to share right now?
Listen, I have 100,000 tips. I love social media. I love marketing. One tip is get on LinkedIn. I've spoken to maybe like 50 or 60 hoteliers in the last couple of hours, and I'm like, "Are you on LinkedIn? Because I would love to connect with you." And they're not.
They're not?
They're not on LinkedIn. So I'm actually going to write an article about this, like 10 reasons why you need to be on LinkedIn if you're a hotelier.
Unfortunately, you'll put it up on LinkedIn and they won't see it.
No, we'll have to put it up on my blog,
right?
At Smart Guests, but. Yeah, it's powerful. He's learning so many ideas. I see your stuff. It's awesome.
I love LinkedIn. I think that for us in this universe, it's probably the most effective means of social media communication. There was a lot of years early on, I'm like, I don't understand LinkedIn. I link in with someone and that's kind of it. But since that time, it's really transformed into something that, to me, is extremely essential every single day. That's driving people to visit the novacancy.news.com website. That's driving people to listen to the podcast. That's helping me create a sense of community around what I do, and I know it's doing the same for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the number one thing I recommend to a lot of people. Like, go ahead and get on LinkedIn. Even if you're not sharing stuff, come learn stuff on this platform because it's amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's so much out there. Every hotel brand out there is sharing ideas, strategies, the way to improve your business on LinkedIn. So if you're not on it, it's not Facebook. It's not you're gonna look at cat videos and see what your grandmother ate for dinner or whatever. Right? It's stuff that can change your business overnight.
I mean, seriously, Facebook is all either, like you said, cat videos, or I hate politics, or I hate your politics. It's pretty much it's pretty much what it's become, which is exhausting. Now, to me, I think the side of the future, MySpace.
MySpace. I think I still have my MySpace account, and I think I still have my Friendster account. So I'm gonna look into those.
Right. Hey, also get this. We got some questions coming from live. So Chris Griffith asks, how big of a role does debt play in what you do, from acquiring an asset to operating it to selling it? Could you imagine accomplishing success in this space without debt? Totally not what we've been talking about, but as an entrepreneur, you know all about this subject.
How is debt?
Yeah. So how big of a role does debt play in what you do, from acquiring assets to operating to selling? Can you imagine accomplishing success in this space without having debt?
Yeah, debt's all around us, right? So,
Yeah.
It just depends on your asset location. It depends on a lot of little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could hurt you or it could break you, right, in a slow time. So,
Well, to me, from my opinion on that whole issue is if you don't have some sort of debt, you're probably not going to be in a position to even build your asset, right? It's about doing it. Smartly, smartguest.com. And
I like that.
And I'm seeing the banks these days are looking to get a little bit more money put in. So I'm seeing the mezzanine financing coming in and helping, and really helping to cover those debts. So if you want to be successful, you need to have debt in order to do that. I'm a big believer. Yeah, I'm a big believer in using other people's money in order to make you successful. I unfortunately have not taken that advice myself because I'm just a podcaster. I'm not a hotel owner yet. I got to get into this business.
Listen, my uncle. There's an uncle that actually taught me how to drive. So I think at 6 years old, I was sitting on his lap, and in Houston. I grew up in Houston, Texas. He said OPM, other people's money, and I can't forget it. So debt is something that
Oh, right. So OPM, also a forgotten Danny DeVito film from the 1980s or early 90s. Go check that out. All about I think it was about them coming in and taking over a factory in a small town or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of my old references. I should just go back to to debt conversations.
Definitely. I'm passionate about customer service. I'm passionate about marketing. I'm passionate about the hotel business.
Right.
I'm passionate about how we can grow and how we can connect with our guests to have them keep coming back, and and they're just entrepreneur in general. Like I have like 100 ideas. My wife probably hates me right now because I wake up with so many ideas a day. She's like, just stop.
Yeah.
But no, it's fun,
Yeah. Any final words of advice?
No.
All right.
Not really. Enjoy the week. I'm excited to connect with people here at the HOA, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. All right.
Thanks for having me on.
I like the strong finish. That's you gotta punch it up right there at the end. So I want to thank all of you for listening. If you've been watching this Facebook Live post, that's great. If you're downloading this on the podcast, you can go to novacancynews.com and watch the video presentation if you prefer to do that. And if not, if you're at the gym, if you're in the pool, if you're at the commute, thanks for listening to this, and we'll be right back after this.
Was it good?
Yeah, that was great, man.
All right, thanks for having me on.
I really like the strong on the face. You gotta punch it up right there at the end. So I want to thank all of you for listening. If you've been watching this Facebook Live post, that's great. If you're downloading this on the podcast, you can go